my leadership style is team building. And if you're a team builder, you soon begin to understand you are no better than the people you put around you.
That's right.
And if you don't surround yourself with people that are smarter than you, if your ego demands that you must be the smartest person in the room at all times, you will miss the possibilities of what you could be if you surrounded yourself with great people.
How to get through the loneliness of being a creative. I want you to understand when I say being a creative is lonely, it's not because you sit in a room necessarily by yourself all day and you be like, I don't have friends or I don't have other creatives I could talk to. That's not the thing. When I say that being a creative is lonely, it's typically you have a task, you have a job that you need to do in the creative space, and in most cases, you're tackling that particular task by yourself. And it's not just like, I'm gonna sit here for a couple of hours and then move on to the next thing with this group of people. For a creative, typically what happens is you get a project, you get a job, or you get a section of a project and a section of a job, and you go off into a silo all by yourself. And you have to fine tune and make this part of the job damn near perfect. Well, as close to perfect as humanly possible. But you do that literally on your own until it comes time to get feedback or critique from a colleague or whoever gave you the job. So up to that point, you really are sitting in a room by yourself or sitting at a computer by yourself and just doing that job. Well, that sounds fun to some people in some cases. But over the course of a 10-year career, a 5-year career, a 20-year career, it gets extremely lonely. Now that I've said that, well, you have to have a solution to the problem. And don't get me wrong, I like working solo, and I'm sure there's a lot of other people that like working solo, but sometimes it's hard to grow as a creative when you're doing stuff on your own. So what happens when you feel stuck, or you don't know how to make it through, or you're not as creative as you want to be? Well, it's hard to get through that when you're doing everything by yourself. So now for a possible solution to what I'm talking about. And this is something that I've gained in my professional career, my freelance career, and when I was a student doing this. Being a student is actually quite easy to not be a lonely creative because you do a lot of projects with other people. You're in a classroom, you're in a group. So when you're a student, you're not feeling alone all the time. But I will tell you this, as a creative professional, you're definitely solo majority of the time. So what you need to do to start feeling like you're not so isolated from the world that you love, which is the creative world, you have to take on side projects or do things or make a conscious effort to meet and mingle with other creatives or meet and mingle with your other teammates that do other parts of the job just so that you can stay in touch. I've seen a few times in my career where my creative director or the manager above me has done things to make sure that the group gets together, whether it be through lunches, going out after work, going bowling, or doing something that puts us in the same space. But that's not the creative side of it. So what has been done to fix the creative part? Well, we've had group critiques, we've had group calls, because now, since COVID has been a factor, a lot of people work from home. And don't get me wrong, I love it. So if you're one of the jobs that I'm working, please don't change that part. I love being able to come and go as I please, work from home if I need to. Like, that part is definitely amazing. But you do lose touch with your team. So having people over top of you or you yourself going, let me be more intentional about reaching out to other people that I work with. It may be sparking up a project or getting feedback on a project I'm currently working on. That is the thing that'll stop you from being a lonely creative. It will help it so that you don't feel like you're completely on your own all the time. And it actually makes it so that you can begin to level up. And that's a great place to be. because you constantly want to grow as a creative so that you can do bigger and better things. Nobody really wants to be stuck in one place forever. And why is that you don't want to be stuck? Because typically when you move up, you get paid more. Your rate increases. The jobs you get are typically better. So you want to constantly move up. Nobody really wants to do it on their own all the time. Make it a point to do stuff with other like-minded people, or even people that are creative but don't necessarily do what you do. Go do stuff outside of work that puts you with other creatives. So then, even when you're doing projects that might not be with them, you have a network of people that you can reach out to that can help you. It'll get you so far in your career by having people that you can mingle with and do things with and talk to that are going through similar things that you're going through. Because I will say this, whether you have friends or family who understand what you do in the sense of they know you're an artist, they know you do creative things, they don't necessarily know how you feel if they're not a creative. And it's hard to explain to them that it's hard to stay motivated when you're constantly by yourself. It's hard to level up when you're constantly by yourself. It's hard to stay focused when you're constantly by yourself. And they want to be there for you. They want to support you, but they don't know how because it's not what they do. We have to be creative no matter what is going on in our life. We have to be focused no matter what is going on in our life, because the project doesn't stop if we're sad. The project doesn't stop if we're mad. The project goes on no matter what. So we have to find it in ourselves to be creative. But if you're a lonely creative, it makes it hard to do that because you can't find that spark, because emotionally you just keep going down, or you're just not in tune with what's going on. But when you have a network of people who know what you're doing and understand what you're doing, they can get you back on track. And I've built that throughout the course of my career. And I'm telling you, do that as well. Because at some point in your career, you will start to feel how lonely it gets being a creative. And I don't mean lonely in the sense like you're gonna be in a corner and cry about it. It's lonely in the sense that you work by yourself constantly. So your opinion is really the only opinion that you have. Your critique is your critique until you hand it over to somebody who's telling you yay or nay, and I'm not gonna pay you for it, or I want you to change a million things. Where if you had showed it to somebody that shares the same thing that you do, they could have told you before, well, why don't you try this? Why don't you approach it this way? And it would get you so far. If you didn't get necessarily something out of this particular one, I have other videos that I've done for different aspects of being a creative that can help you in your career. So I ask that you subscribe to my channel and watch some of the other videos. And on occasion, sometimes I even do shorts. And a short is no more than probably 45 seconds. Who can't take 45 seconds? And don't tell me you can't. I'm pretty sure you have 45 seconds. And if you watch this much of the video in general to get to this point, you have it. But once again, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you know when I'm putting out a different video. As always, stay stress-free, stay creative, and have a great day.